Hi there everyone, for those who don't know me, my name's Phil, so welcome to the first Tuesday quiz night here on my new YouTube channel. This is in the surroundings of what was my home office, which isn't being used at the moment that much due to circumstances beyond my control. So hopefully this is the first of many during this lockdown situation and uncertainty. Now, it's worth pointing out these are just for fun quizzes that you can play with your family and friends, or maybe friends and family further afield using web chats such as Skype or Zoom. I'm certainly no quiz master, so I make no apologies in advance if there's any small typos or there might be some ambiguities in questions or answers. Most of the information's come off the internet, and we all know how reliable that can be. So if there are any mistakes, please be kind to me. Do pop them in comments if there's anything I need to know. But just remember, it's only for fun. I'll be doing other smaller quizzes as well to keep track with these. Then subscribe either to this YouTube channel or look for me on Twitter, searching for PUBQUIZ60. That's with no spaces, and there'll be quizzes I might do, just smaller ones, as and when over this lockdown period. Right, that's enough of me on screen. Let's go on with the quiz, and I'll pop back at the end just to see how everyone's got on. Okay, so let's just explain what's going on. So if you want to grab yourself a pen and paper, it's a quiz. You'll need to write down your answers. Obviously, not sending them in, and they're not being. There's no two-way conversation or communication with me. So it's writing it down and it's marking yourself. So it's just for fun anyway. 5 rounds of 10 questions. Each question will have a point each, but in each round there's a bonus question worth a further 2 points. So 5 rounds, 12 points a round, 60 points maximum score. It'll be quite quick fire, the questions, so I won't be repeating any at the end of the rounds, but I will leave a little bit of time after each one for you guys to have a little bit of discussion and a little bit of a chat to see what's going on. But there'll be a minute at the end of each round for final answering before we move on to the next round. We'll mark the first 3 rounds after the third round, and then there'll be a 5-minute comfort break when you can nip out, get yourself a drink, let the dog out, get a bite to eat, whatever you need to do. Then there'll be 2 more rounds after the break, and then final marking. And then during this, though, live chat's going to be switched off during the quiz, so you can't put any answers on. But feel free to leave any comments, etc. As I say, do be nice to me. I'm not a quiz master by default, so any comments will be taken on board as long as they're nice and friendly. Okay, so please feel free to leave comments. If you're remembering, it's just for fun. Okay, so we'll move on to the first round. So if you've got your pens and papers ready, first round is a music round. 10 questions in each round, and then there'll be a bonus question in there as well. So let's start where we should always, with question 1. What is the surname of sisters Natalie and Nicole who were in the group All Saints? What is the surname of sisters Natalie and Nicole who were in the group All Saints? And again, I'll just leave a little bit of time just for between questions, enough time for hopefully to have a little chat, get your answer ready, and one of you or one of your team to write that down. And then we'll move on to question 2. Which artist had the biggest selling UK album of 2019? Which artist had the biggest selling UK album of 2019? Okay, moving on to question 3, if you've got that one. What was the name of Oasis's first album? The name of their first album. I remember this because I bought it. It's got the songs Rock and Roll Star and Cigarettes and Alcohol on, if that's a clue or that helps you jog your memory to what albums you might have in your collection. I've just realised I've left the live chat on, so I'll just take that off just during the quiz where you get that one there. Switch that on back at the end. So moving on to question 4 in the music round. Which Spandau Ballet song contains the lyrics, "I bought a ticket to the world, but now I've come back again"? So I'm sure some of you will be singing this along at home, and then you'll get to the lyrics and you'll know the song. Now, this is an album I didn't buy. Okay, moving on to question 5. Who recorded the 1980s novelty song Shut Up Your Face? Who recorded the 1980s novelty song Shut Up Your Face? Now, as I said earlier, it's only a fun quiz, so I'm not too bothered about spellings on this. If anyone makes any typos or spells names wrong, as long as the rough answer's there, I'm sure we'll all get a point. Just leave that a little bit longer while you think about it. And then after question 5 in each round, as I say, we have a bonus round. That's worth 2 points in each round. It's a little bit trickier, but it relates to question 5. And the bonus round for music is, bonus question for music, which Ultravox song did Shut Up Your Face famously keep off the #1 spot? Which song by Ultravox did Shut Up Your Face famously keep off the #1 spot? Now that may just be a case of thinking, how many famous Ultravox songs do you know? Okay, just leave that a second longer. And then we'll move back to the main quiz proper. Question number 6. Abel Makinen Tesfaye is the stage name of which act who released Blinding Lights in 2020? I don't know when any of those 3 names are pronounced right, but Abel Makinen Tesfaye is the stage name of which act who released the song Blinding Lights in 2020? Okay, moving on to question 7 in the music round. Which Canadian artist released Man, I Feel Like a Woman in 1999? Just for info, this reached number 3, apparently, in the UK charts. Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Give you a second or two for someone to write that down. Remember, there is a minute at the end of each round as well, just to have a little chat between yourselves if there's any questions that you didn't get. As I say, I won't be repeating all the questions or any individual questions, so there'll just be a minute for you to get together just to make sure you've got an answer for all 10. So we'll move on to question 8. With which Cuban singer did Shawn Mendes team up with on the track Senorita? Which Cuban singer did Shawn Mendes team up with on the track Senorita? Again, spellings on this ain't that important, I don't think. As long as we get the rough answer, then it warrants a mark. So moving on to question 9, penultimate one in this round. And it is, Dave Hill, Jim Lee and Don Powell were among the members of which 1970s band? Dave Hill, Jim Lee and Don Powell were among the members of which 1970s band? Now it's worth pointing out I've missed out one particular member of this band as well, whose name would give it away almost instantly, I think. So they're 3 members of the band, but there was someone else, perhaps slightly more well known in the band. So, come to question 10, last one in the music round. In 1965, who topped the UK charts with It's Not Unusual? 1965, who topped the UK charts with It's Not Unusual? Okay, so that's the end of round 1, the music round. I'll just give you a quick minute now, minute countdown, just to have a little chat amongst yourselves, finalise any answers you weren't sure of, just to make sure you've got an answer for everything. Obviously, there's 2 more rounds after this, and we'll mark answers for the first 3 rounds after the 3rd round. So I'll give you a minute now. Okay, so that's that minute over. Hopefully that gave you enough time just to finalise any questions, any answers that you weren't sure of. Like I say, there'll be a minute at the end of each round. So yeah, we'll move on to round 2 now, which is science and nature. So we'll go straight in with question 1, 10 questions again. And question 1 is, which animal has a Spanish name which when translated to English means little armoured one? Which animal has a Spanish name which when translated to English means little armoured one? And apparently these creatures are mainly found in South America, if that helps at all. So again, just a little bit of time to chat amongst yourselves, get an answer on this, but there is that minute at the end of the round. So we can move on fairly quickly, which we will do now, to question 2. Question 2 is, Yorkshire Blue and White and Wessex Saddleback are breeds of which animal? Yorkshire Blue and White and Wessex Saddleback are breeds of which animal? Now we're looking for the Yorkshire Blue and White here, not Yorkshire Blue, which some of you will probably say that's a cheese, but we're looking for animals, so it's a Yorkshire Blue and White and the Wessex Saddleback. Okay, moving on to question 3. Which organ produces insulin in the body? Which organ produces insulin in the body? So if you don't know anything straight away, just make a little note on the side of your paper. You can come back to that in the minute at the end of each round. But we'll move on to question 4. What is the technical name for the shoulder blade? That's the technical name for the shoulder blade, the triangle-shaped bone in the upper back. Leave a little bit longer on this one if you're chatting amongst yourselves or on your teams. Then we'll move on to question 5. Question 5. Rickets can be caused by a deficiency of which vitamin? Rickets can be caused by a deficiency of which vitamin? Now, apparently it can also be caused by a deficiency of calcium, but it's the vitamin, the letter of vitamin that we're after here. I suppose if you don't know, it's just guess a letter. And then question 5 is a bonus question, also on vitamins. So there's 2 points for this one again. What is the scientific name for vitamin C? The scientific name for vitamin C. Now there's 2 here, one perhaps more well known than the other, but there's 2 potential answers. So again, the bonus question in each round, 2 points for this, so a maximum of 12 points in each round. And we'll move on to question 6, back on the 1 point questions. What is the largest bird native to Australia? What is the largest bird native to Australia? I'm sure there's some funny jokes people can make here, but it's the bird we're looking for. Okay, so we'll move on now to question 7 in Science and Nature. Question 7 is, the stirrup, the smallest bone in humans, is found in which part of the body? The stirrup, which I think is also called the stapes, the smallest bone in humans, is found in which part of the body? Okay, move on to question 8. How many faces does a dodecahedron possess? How many faces does a dodecahedron possess? Now, faces are as in a cube has 6 faces. So how many faces would a dodecahedron possess? I'm sure there'll be a few different answers coming up between yourselves, so I'll let you argue that amongst yourselves. then let's move on to question 9, second last one in Science and Nature. Which mode of transport is spelt out using the periodic table symbols for helium and lithium and cobalt and platinum and erbium? So this takes you back to your school days maybe. Which mode of transport is spelt out using the symbols helium, lithium, cobalt, platinum and erbium? Okay, moving on to the last question in Science and Nature, question 10. Phobos and Deimos are the moons of which planet in our solar system? Phobos and Deimos. And both moons are a lot smaller than ours, but which planet in our solar system are they from? Okay, so that ends round 2, Science and Nature. That was the 10 questions. So again, if I give you a minute just to finalise any answers you weren't sure of, or talk amongst yourself and debate any answers you have put down, hopefully get an answer for everything, and I'll put a minute on the clock. Okay, so that's the minute over there after round 2, Science and Nature. So hopefully again you've got an answer in for all 10. We'll check them after the next round, round 3. And round 3 is sport. 10 more questions again, then we'll go through the answers. So first question in the sport category, first of 10, is tennis player Simona Halep, who won Wimbledon in 2019, comes from which country? Tennis player Simona Halep, who won Wimbledon, comes from which country? And apparently her total prize money earnings in her career is over $36 million. So hopefully we've heard of her. Just give you another few seconds for that. Then moving on to question 2. How many hurdles are there to cross in the men's 110-metre hurdles athletic event? How many hurdles do the men cross in the 110-metre hurdles? I suppose that's the maximum number they can cross in their lane. It's the men's 110. Obviously the women only do 100-metre hurdles. Coming on to question 3, which is, how many players make up a beach volleyball team? How many players in a beach volleyball team? Now, you may have seen this at the 2012 Olympics when it was at Horse Guards Parade they did it, so if it conjures up any memories, you might remember how many players are in a team. And question 4. Which year's Winter Olympics featured Eddie the Eagle Edwards and the debut of the Jamaica national bobsleigh team? Which year's Winter Olympics featured Eddie the Eagle and the Jamaica national bobsleigh team's debut? Just remember those TV clips of Eddie the Eagle on the ski jump. Might give you an idea how long ago it might have been. But we'll move on to question 5. Who recorded the fastest 100-metre world record time for men in August 2009? fastest 100 metres world record holder time for men, set in August 2009. And then the bonus question, those are 2 points for this again, related to the last question, question 5. What city was this world record time of 9.58 seconds set in? So that might give you a clue again to the actual answer for question 5 if you didn't know it already. But for the bonus points, 2 in total, what city was this world record time of 9.58 seconds set in? Okay, we'll move back to the main quiz proper and come to question 6. Name the style of jump popularised by the high jump gold medal winner at the 1968 Summer Olympics. So if you know the winner, you can probably guess the style of jump. I think the jump is probably more popular than the actual winner's name. Okay, we'll move on to question 7. In the UK Football Premier League, who has their home ground at Bramall Lane? In the Premier League, who plays their home games at Bramall Lane? Now, apparently this first opened in 1855, so it's one of the older teams. Bramall Lane. Right, question 8 in the sports round. In the game of snooker, how many balls are present on the table at the beginning of a game? How many balls are present on the table at the beginning of a game? Just warrants a little bit of thought, so I'll give a few more seconds. Then we'll move on to the penultimate question in sport. What is the common name given for a one stroke over par for a single hole in golf? Common name for one stroke over par for a single hole in golf. Okay, coming to question 10, last one in the round. On a standard darts board, what number is diagonally opposite 19? So on the board, what number is diagonally opposite number 19? Give you a few seconds, probably not enough time to run out to the garage to check your dartboard out there, but whereabouts is number 19 on the board, and what's diagonally opposite it? Okay. So that's all the questions in round 3 sport. Again, if I just give you a quick minute now just to finalise any of your answers from those 10, and then we'll run through the answers for the first 3 rounds. So I'll give a minute now just for you to look at this round, or if there's anything else from the first 2 rounds, because then we'll be running through the answers for all those 3, see how we got on. It's a minute on the clock. Okay, so that's the minute over for checking your answers for the sports round and any of the first two rounds as well. So what we'll do now is have a quick look at the answers for the first three rounds. I'm not going to put the questions on screen, so I'll just run through them very, very quickly and then give the answers. Not much explanation, but fairly quick fire. So back to round one, which is music. The first question, surname of the sisters who were in All Saints, that was Appleton. Question two, which artist had the biggest selling UK album of 2019? That was Lewis Capaldi, with Ed Sheeran came second with his number 6 collaboration album. The third question was, what was Oasis's debut album called? And the answer to that is definitely Maybe. Question four, the Spandau Ballet song with the lyrics I bought a ticket to the world but now I've come back again is True. Question five, who recorded the 80s novelty song Shut Up Your Face? That was Joe Dolce. Joe Dolce. And the bonus question that followed that, which Ultravox song did that keep off the number 1 spot? There's not that many Ultravox songs that people probably know, and it is the obvious one. It's Vienna. Number 6, Abel Makanen Tesfaye released Blinding Lights in 2020. What's his stage name? It is The Weeknd. Question 7, which Canadian artist released Man I Feel Like a Woman in 1999? That was Shania Twain. Question 8, with which Cuban singer did Shawn Mendes team up with on Senorita? That's Camila Cabello. And then question 9, the band with Dave Hill, Jim Lee and Don Powell in the 70s. Well, if I told you the name I missed out was Noddy Holder, then you'd know the answer for that band was Slade. And then the last question in the music round was in 1965, who topped the charts with It's Not Unusual? That was Tom Jones in March 65. Tom Jones. So maximum possible there of 12 points, but we'll move on to marking round 2, which was science and nature. So question 1 was, which animal means little armoured one in Spanish? That's an armadillo. Question 2, the Yorkshire Blue and White and Wessex Saddleback are breeds of pig. Breeds of pig. Question 3, which organ produces insulin in the body? That's the pancreas. Question 4, the technical name for the shoulder blade? That's the scapula. Scapula. Question 5, which vitamin deficiency can cause rickets? That's vitamin D. Vitamin D. And the bonus question after that, 2 points for the bonus one to remember. The scientific name for vitamin C. You could have ascorbic acid or also ascorbate. Ascorbic acid, probably more common, or ascorbate. Back to the 1 pointers. What's the largest bird native to Australia? It's the emu. Now, the ostrich is apparently larger, but not endemic to Australia. Question 7. The stirrup, the smallest bone, is found in which part of the body? That's in the ear, in your ear. Question 8. How many faces does a dodecahedron possess? That is 12. Dodecahedron possesses 12 faces. And for anyone who's interested, 20 vertices and 30 edges. Number 9. The mode of transport spelt out from the periodic table symbols? That was helicopter. That was H-E-L-I-C-O-P-T and E-R. Helicopter. Last question in Science and Nature was about the moons. Phobos and Deimos are the moons of which planet? They're both the moons of Mars. So we'll go straight on to the answers for sport, round 3. Tennis player Simona Halep, Wimbledon winner 2019, comes from Romania. Question 2, how many hurdles are there to cross in the men's 110 hurdles? The answer is 10. Question 3, how many players in a beach volleyball team? The answer is 2 players on each side. Question 4, the Winter Olympics year featuring Eddie the Eagle and the Jamaican bobsleigh team was 1988, and that was in Calgary in Canada. Who recorded the fastest record 100 metres time in August 2009? Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt. Hopefully that's quite a nice straightforward one. Long time ago though. And the bonus question to follow that up for 2 points. Which city was this world record time set? 9.58 seconds. It was at the World Athletics Championships in Berlin. Question 6, back to the one-pointers. Name the style of jump popularised by the gold medal winner at the '68 Olympics. It was the Fosbury flop, named after Dick Fosbury. He did 2 metres 24 then, an Olympic record, but the current high jump record, 2 metres 45. You can just picture that in your room you're in at the moment, 2 metres 45. Someone high jumped in 1993. Question 7, who has the home ground at Bramall Lane? That's Sheffield United. Question 8, in the game of snooker, how many balls are present on the table at the beginning of a game? That's 22. So there's 21 coloured balls and the white as well. 15 reds, 6 colours and the white. Question 9, what is the common name given for one stroke over par in golf per hole? That's a bogey. And question 10, the last one of these 3 rounds, on a standard dartboard, what number is diagonally opposite 19? And the answer to that is number 1. Just to the right of 20 at the top, and 19's just to the left of number 3 at the bottom. So opposite 19 diagonally is number 1. So that's the first 3 rounds done. Potential 36 points in there. I hope you've all done okay there. I'm going to put the live chat back on just during a quick 5-minute comfort break that we'll have now. So you can go out, get yourself a drink, bite to eat, whatever, quickly, let the dog out, have a stretch, anything at all. But we'll put a 5-minute timer on. I'll put the live chat back on as well if anyone wants to put any little comments on. But we'll be back in 5 minutes. See you in a bit. Okay, welcome back everyone. Hopefully that 5 minutes was enough time to get a well-earned drink, let the dog out, have a stretch. Just wondering how you all did on the scores. I can see that a couple of people got 22 in the first 3 rounds out of 36, which I think is admirable. So I don't know if anyone got any more than that, but we'll see at the end. Obviously, there's 2 more rounds to go, so we'll see how everyone gets on. So we'll straight away move into round 4, which is geography. Again, 10 questions in each round and the bonus one, so let's move straight into question 1. The UK towns of Bootle and Birkenhead sit on which river? Bootle and Birkenhead sit on which river? Fairly straightforward that one, I hope, so we'll move straight on to question 2. Nevada in the USA is famous for its gambling, but what is its state capital city? What is the state capital city of Nevada? Maybe have a little chat amongst yourselves on that one. Let's try and think what other cities there are in Nevada, I suppose. Again, it's worth remembering there's a minute at the end of the round again, just to have a final chat amongst yourselves and finalise your answers. So we'll move on to question 3, try and speed it along. What type of bird appears on the national flag of Mexico? Which bird appears on the national flag of Mexico? Okay, we'll move on to question 4. If you don't know, just put a little note Mexico by the side of your paper, Mexico flag, you can always come back to it. Question 4. In which city is the famous Edvard Eriksson statue, The Little Mermaid? The Little Mermaid, which was based on the fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen. Might be a clue, might not be a clue, but which city is that statue in, The Little Mermaid? Right, moving on, question 5. What is the world's second highest mountain after Everest, also situated in Asia? Second highest mountain, also situated in Asia. Just its more common name I'll be asking for. And then question 5 has a bonus one related to it. 2 points for this one if you know it, and this is a very tricky 2. How high is this mountain to the nearest 1,000 feet? The nearest 1,000 feet. Very tricky question, worthy of the 2 points, but I'll give a little clue. It's somewhere between 20 and 30,000. Gives you a little clue, just to make it a bit easier, otherwise it's far too tricky, I think. If anyone knows the exact to the feet, write that down maybe in the comments. Not the chat should be disabled, so write that down in the comments perhaps afterwards. How high is this mountain to the nearest 1,000 feet? Somewhere between 20 and 30,000. So back to the main quiz. Question 6 in geography. Which river flows through Paris? What's the name of the river that flows through Paris? Again, spellings on this not overly important. I think if we know what people mean, that's all that matters really. Moving on to question 7. A road tunnel runs from Chamonix in France to Courmayeur in Italy under which mountain? A road tunnel from Chamonix in France to Courmayeur in Italy runs under which mountain? Apparently the tunnel is just under 7 miles long. Famous road tunnel. Okay, moving on to question 8 in geography. Which country, with its capital city Bangkok, used to be called Siam? Which country, with the capital Bangkok, used to be called Siam? So the modern name for the country that was Siam. We'll go straight on to question 9. Which stretch of water separates Anglesey and Wales? Which stretch of water separates Anglesey and Wales? If you know the name of the bridge that goes and joins those two, that might be a clue to the stretch of water. The bridge itself, I won't name it, is 417 metres long. And the last question in the geography round, question 10, is what is the name of the only city in Cornwall? The name of the only city in Cornwall. Have a little think amongst yourselves about that one. I think it's quite a new city. Not the place itself, but the new status of city. Okay, so that ends the geography round. Again, if I just give you a minute just to finalise any answers you're unsure of in that category. And then we'll come back and then there's one more round to do, which is just general knowledge. And then we can mark these last two rounds, add them to your first three, and that's the quiz for the evening. So I'll just leave you a minute now just to finalise answers for the geography round. Okay, so that's the minute over there on the geography round. So now we move into the final round, the fifth round of the evening, which is general knowledge. 10 more questions, and then we'll mark the final answers to see the final scores. So we'll get straight on with question 1 in the general knowledge round, which is it was love at first sight is the first line from which Joseph Heller novel? It was love at first sight is the first line from which Joseph Heller novel? If it helps at all, this was published in 1961. Probably not. So we'll move on to question 2 on the general knowledge round, which is the cocktail of vodka, spicy ginger beer, and lime juice is known as what? Cocktail of vodka, ginger beer, and lime juice is known as what? I'm sure some of you are thinking back to some orangey brown bottles back in the day. I'll move on to question 3. Question 3 is born in White Plains, New York in 1984, which former Harvard University student was a co-founder of Facebook? 1984, is born in White Plains, New York, Harvard University student. It's the main co-founder of Facebook. Again, spellings on this one, not overly important. Okay, if that's okay, we'll move on to question 4 in general knowledge, which is which two-person board game has 12 triangles called points on each side of the board? Which two-person board game, 12 triangles called points on each side of the board? Moving on to question 5. Originally acquired by eBay in 2005, which communications tool was bought by Microsoft in 2011 for $8.5 billion? Which communications tool, originally bought by eBay, was bought by Microsoft for $8.5 billion? As ever, after question 5, we have a bonus question worth 2 points. And the bonus question in general knowledge is: who was the Microsoft co-founder alongside Bill Gates? Who co-founded Microsoft alongside Bill Gates? Just for interest on this one, Bill Gates apparently is currently worth $99.3 billion. Quite a bit. Okay, so we'll move on to question 6, back to the 1 pointers in general knowledge. Question 6 is: which author's works include The Twits and the BFG? Twits was written in 1980 and BFG in 1982. Okay, we'll move on to question 7 now. By what more common name is the yam known in the UK? What is the yam more commonly known as in the UK? Just 3 more questions remaining in the whole quiz. Done well for time, rattling on through quite well. So we'll move on to question 8. The artist Salvador Dali was born in which country? Salvador Dali was born in which country? Okay, 2 more questions to go. So we'll move on to question 9 in general knowledge. Penultimate question: which English TV presenter and mathematician has co-presented the Channel 4 show Countdown since 2009? So looking for the name of the English TV presenter and mathematician who co-presents Channel 4's Countdown and has done since 2009. Okay, we'll move on to the last question in this round and the last question in the quiz, which is: Jarlsberg is a cheese originating in which Northern European country? Jarlsberg, the cheese, originates in which Northern European country? So just a few more seconds on that one. So hopefully you've got all the answers for general knowledge, but as ever, if we just leave an extra little minute now just to finalise any answers, any final discussions before we go through marking the last 2 rounds. So I'll leave a little minute. That should say round 5 general knowledge, not round 4. That's my typo. There we go. But I'll put a minute on the clock. Okay, so that's that minute over for the final round, and hopefully you've got all the answers ready for those last two rounds, which we'll go through now. As before, just go through the answers quite quickly, just to make sure that we speed along. And so we'll start with round 4, geography question 1, which was Bootle and Birkenhead stand on which river? That is the Mersey. Apparently that's about 70 miles long, Mersey, 70 miles. Question 2. Nevada is famous for gambling. What's its state capital city? Capital is Carson City. Carson City. Even though the largest city is Las Vegas, which some of you may have gone for, I'm not sure. Question 3. Which bird appears on the flag of Mexico? That is an eagle. An eagle. And is depicted holding a serpent on the middle of the flag. Question 4. In which city is the statue The Little Mermaid? That's in Copenhagen. Question 5. What is the world's second highest mountain after Everest? And that is K2. And then the bonus question for that, how high is this mountain to the nearest 1,000 feet? Now, I did say it's between 20 and 30,000 feet. The nearest 1,000 is 28,000 feet. 28,000. The answer, apparently, exact answer, 28,251 feet. So very well done if you're close to actually guessing that to the nearest foot. Back to the single pointers though. Question 6, which river flows through Paris? That's the Seine. Question 7, a road tunnel runs from Chamonix to Courmayeur, from France to Italy, under which mountain? That was Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc. Question 8, which country, capital city Bangkok, used to be called Siam? That is Thailand. And question 9, which stretch of water separates Anglesey and Wales? That's the Menai Strait. The Menai Strait. And it's the Menai Bridge that crosses that, the 417-metre bridge. But the answer was the Menai Strait. And the name of the only, question 10, the name of the only city in Cornwall is Truro. So the fifth round, general knowledge. Question 1. It Was Love at First Sight is the first line from which Joseph Heller novel? That is Catch-22. Question 2. The cocktail we were looking for with vodka, ginger beer and lime juice is a Moscow Mule. Question 3. Who was the co-founder of Facebook, born in 1984 in White Plains, New York? That is Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg. He's only 35 still, and net worth of $54 billion. $54 billion. Question 4. Which two-person board game has 12 triangles called points on each side of the board? That's backgammon. Backgammon it is. Question 5. Originally acquired by eBay, which communications tool was then bought by Microsoft for $8.5 billion? The answer to that is Skype. Skype was the communications tool. The bonus question on that was who was the Microsoft co-founder alongside Bill Gates? The answer to that is Paul Allen. Paul Allen. And Bill Gates apparently worth 100 billion almost. When Paul Allen died in 2018, just worth 20 billion. 20, that's all. Question 6, which author's works included the Twits and the BFG? That was Roald Dahl. And question 7, by what more common name is the yam known in the UK? That's the sweet potato. The artist Salvador Dali was born in which country? The answer to that is Spain. Question 9, which English presenter and mathematician co-presented Countdown since 2009? To replace Carol Vorderman is Rachel Riley. Rachel Riley. And the final question in the quiz, Jarlsberg is a cheese originating in which northern European country? It's traced back to the 1850s from Norway. The answer to that is Norway. So that concludes the quiz there. That's it. So if you want to just make some final adjustments, just marking those. There should be 5 rounds of 12, so a total of 60 points. So just give a little second just to add those up, and I'm just going to put live chat back on live. So guys, hopefully that was all good. If you just want to pop what your scores were, as I say, the maximum points out of 60. I think if anyone got in 35-40 kind of area across the 5 rounds, and that's an admirable score. Anything higher than that, very, very good indeed. But do post your scores, do post any comments, etc., either in the live chat, which I'll leave live for a little bit longer now, or pop them in the comments. I'll have a read of them, but do try and be nice to me if possible. There might have been a few errors, might have been a few mistakes. Do let me know about those so I can improve and hopefully try and make it better next week if that's okay. As I say, hopefully we'll do this again next week, 8 o'clock on Tuesdays. The same sort of pub quiz style, 5 rounds, with different categories, obviously, but there'll be other quizzes that I'm going to be doing during the course of this lockdown isolation, and I'll put them on that same YouTube channel, but I'll probably advertise them more so either directly on any WhatsApp groups I'm on you guys with, or on Twitter. If you want to look on Twitter for PUBQUIZ60, that's PubQuiz and then 60, all one word, no spaces, and I'll pop notifications on there. But hopefully enjoyed yourself on that. And I say I'll leave the live chat open for a little bit if you want to pop some comments on, and I'll see you around now. Thanks very much for your help. Cheers.